Hello, 7th grade. So I've got your Unit 7 test review. And so I've filled out a bunch of it already. We've talked about a bunch of this in class, so I'm going to kind of film it so you can kind of look at it. I did rectangle plus triangle. You'll see my work. I actually modified it a little. You notice I didn't draw the boxes, but if you look hard enough, can you draw the imaginary lines all the way through that? Sure you can, because it's perfectly neat. By the way, you don't have to have the boxes, but it better be perfectly neat. If you notice I drew a rectangle here, that helps me remember what I'm doing. So that one's a rectangle, that's a rectangle, and that's a triangle. Of course, the formula should be pretty darn good help. I did not do half of 3 because that's crazy. I just did half of 9. It was easier. And then I added all those up and I got that answer, and hopefully I got it right. And it's still feet squared. Why? It's area. The second one. I actually took the whole thing and subtracted this piece because for me it was easier. So the total would be 4.5 times 3.75, and I got 16.88. This piece here, I would have to subtract the 1 from the 4.5 and got 3.5. So this piece is 3.5. And to get this little piece, I had to subtract 2 from that number, and I got 175 because 3 minus 2 is 1. And so then I took 3.5 times $1.75, and I got $6.13. And no, I don't have all the multiplication up here. Then I subtracted, careful, don't add, and I got 10.75 or 10 3/4. And, oh, I'm sorry, centimeters squared or plane? Squared. Why squared? Area. There's the circle one we did in class, and if you were absent, that way you have my notes again. I did the circle plus a rectangle. When I did the circle, it's a half a circle. I'm going to automatically put half in. Why? Because that's the first thing I'm going to forget, so I might as well write it down. And I did 5 times 5 is 25, and I didn't take half of 5 because, well, I didn't want to. I took half of that crazy other number. Why change a whole number to a decimal? I got 1. That's enough already. So I just took half of 314. So half of 314 gave me $1.57. $1.57 times 25 gave me that answer. Then base times height, 10 and 7, 70, and then I added them together. Alrighty, next page. Alrighty, so I'm continuing. Here is question 4. If you were given the diameter of the circle, what formula should you use to find circumference? Well, if you're given diameter, maybe you should use the formula with the diameter. That just seems like good sense to me. Why not? Question 5. It says find the area and the circumference of this shape. So, would you agree it's a circle? Might as well. Would you agree that's the diameter is 14? And by the way, doesn't D stand for D for divide by 2? And 14 divided by 2 is 7. So if you do area, you get pi, radius. I don't do pi r squared. So wouldn't that be 314 times 7, which is the R number and a number 7? So 7 times 7 is 49. 49 times 314 is actually that number. I know I did it. And then, but I estimated really quick. Couldn't I call that 50? Sure could. Couldn't I call that 3? And 3 times 50 is 150. So I can tell you the answer is kind of 150. Not a bad guesser. Actually, I'm a pretty good guesser. What about circumference? I actually did it twice for you. I used both formulas. Some of you are trying to debate which formula to use. Well, look at the answers. If I use that formula, I did 314 times 14, and I got $43.96. If I used 2 pi r, I did 2 times 314 times 7, because that's the radius. I got 14, because 7 times 2 is 14. By the way, that's the diameter. Times 314, which is where I already started, and I still get the same answer. It doesn't matter. You're debating, is your glass half full, half empty? By the way, they're equal. Stop debating. Next, question 6. What if the circumference of a circle is 31.4 miles and the diameter is 10 miles? Which of the following statements is true to find pi? So, to find pi, you're going to divide. Now, I can just tell you that flat out. Because isn't all your formulas multiply? What's the opposite of multiply? Divide. Good point. When you divide, the big number needs to be on top. So what do you think the big number is? Circumference, diameter, radius. Of those 3, I can even throw area in there. Wouldn't this be the bigger number of these 2? Wouldn't those be the little numbers? By the way, area would be a big number too. So you definitely need this number. So circumference is the 31.4. So, and I even wrote it algebraically. So I wrote the formula down because why did I pick this one? Because I said diameter. So 3 is the $31.40. Pi stayed pi, and I didn't even change it to 314 because I got enough problems. I didn't need an extra number. And diameter is 10. Now, I'm going to rewrite this with triangle circle. Couldn't I just put 31.4 on the back? Because that's the answer. And isn't that the same as 10x? Couldn't I divide by 10, and get x equals 31.4 divided by 10? Same thing. I divided by 10 so pi was alone. And I divided this one by 10, and there's your answer. Choice C. Don't make it too hard. Sometimes this stuff's pretty simple. When you want to find pi, start with circumference, divide by diameter. And that's for circumference. Question 7, the bag of Skittles things. We were reading that one in the bell ring. If you actually read right here, it says she brought 3 pounds in, so 3 goes here. And then it says 2.2 pounds is approximately 1 kilogram. That's actually your conversion. So I put 2.2 pounds is 1 kilogram, and that doesn't mean hashtag, that's pounds. And then 3 pounds was brought in, and then there's my x. So couldn't you just do start diagonal divide? Find x, 1 times 3 divided by 2.2. So 1 times 3 is 3, and then 3 divided by 2.2. Well, I did it. So when you have to move this decimal once, and then you would add it, well, 3 has a decimal, it's behind 3. Add a 0, move the decimal. 22 goes into 30 once, and then there you see my division continuing. So not too bad. Not too bad at all. Alrighty, so I'm looking at question 8. It says Miss Miner is crocheting a tablecloth because she's just that awesome, and she is. Her tablecloth has a radius of 4. I drew a picture. She's going to add a piece of crocheted lace around the edge. Wouldn't edge mean perimeter? Doesn't perimeter mean circumference because it's a round shape? Sure it does. CIR. There you go. And so how much lace would she need? And if you notice that she's doing 1 piece. Now, if she could have went back and put multiple pieces on, you'd have had to multiply. But anyway, there's your picture. I wrote your 2 formulas. It is circumference. I picked this one because they said radius. I mean, why not? So then I wrote 2 from the formula, 314 from the formula. The radius was 4 from the story. I said 4 times 2 is 8, and 8 times this number was 2512. So she'll need 25 feet, 25.12 feet of lace. And by the way, not feet squared. Why not feet squared? Because that's not area. Now, I did estimate. What's 8 times 3? 24. So I could have ABC'd this pretty quick. I know the answer is bigger than 24, but not a lot bigger. That sure helps me not make dumb mistakes, because I hate crazy answers, especially when I pick them. Question 9. What is the diameter of a circle whose circumference is 45.53? Well, I just started playing triangle circle. So I used this formula. Why? Because it said circumference and it said diameter, so that's the one I picked. What is the diameter? So I left it at D because I don't know. The circumference is 45.53, so I put 45.53. Do you know the number for pi? I hope it's 314 times D. If put this in triangle circle, couldn't that be 314x equals 45.53? And when you divide by this number, because between 314 and D is multiplication dot, opposite of multiply, divide. What's 314 divided by 314? I hope we tell me 1. Divide from both sides. And then this number divided by 3 is the answer. Now, for me, that's a lot of dividing. So here, wrote your math problem, 45.53 divided by 314. And oh my gosh, how about 45 divided by 3? And the answer is 15. I bet you've probably got the answer already. I bet you don't need that. Let's say you need that. Use this to help you divide, because let me tell you, those are some crazy numbers. And I tried 5, but it didn't work. It was 4. Oh well. This is much easier. And I use this to help me over here. Be smart about it. Last one. Somebody wants to buy a TV to watch the Super Bowl. He would like to get one that is 65 inches. 1 inch is approximately 2.54 centimeters. Set up a proportion to use to solve this. By the way, you don't have to solve it. Yeah, you do. So, wouldn't that be the conversion? Sure it is. Cheat. Use what they give you. Grab it. Go. 1 inch, 2.54. That's half the work done. How many more numbers do you need? You need 1 more number. These are the best. 65 what? Inches, and that's x. And when you do 2.54 times 65 divided by 1, man, I love divide by 1. And I bet 65 times 2 is too small. And I bet 65 times 3 is too big. Alrighty, I hope you enjoyed your review sheet. Let me see if there's anything on the back. There is not. Good job for us. I will see y'all tomorrow. Good night.